Chapter 1 The Divine Design. So God set another time for entering his rest, and that time is today. Hebrews chapter 4, verse 7. What more do I have to do? I begged with a frantic frustration that sounded more like a desperate demand than an innocent inquiry for God to give me an answer. I suppose it was desperate. After nearly a decade had passed since insecure 16-year-old me dove headfirst into the faith, I felt more cheated than satisfied in my Christian life. With every passing day, the faith's promises of peace, joy, healing, deliverance, and victory seemed more like those of an as-seen-on-TV gadget. Those promises felt like the electric shock, chiseled ab-producing belt I once purchased from an after-midnight infomercial that sold me on an outcome it never delivered, not even a bit. When I say that I dove headfirst into the faith, I'm not exaggerating. From early on, my understanding of the gospel was that Jesus died to make me new, which included removing all the imperfections that had beset me since potty training. At least, if I maintained enough faith and applied the right principles to live like Jesus. So, armed with my Bible as an instruction manual, I set out to do my best. The bustle of the first 10 years of my faith makes recalling all the details a bit of a blur. The milestones are clear enough, though. I attended a Christian undergraduate school, gained employment in one of the 15 largest churches in the country, climbed the ladder of leadership in another ministry, and then earned a master's degree in theology. In some seasons, I was inside of a church building every day. If I was not chasing conferences and revivals, I was learning or serving. Monday was spiritual growth seminar. Tuesday was advanced Bible study. Wednesday, I was a youth leader. Thursday, I co-hosted a small group. Friday was prayer. Saturday and Sunday, I attended services. As I write, just beyond the brim of my laptop screen is a bookshelf with at least a few shelves that hearken me back to this era. With only a quick glance, I count several dozen Christian self-help books, some of which are volumes of prayer and deliverance strategies. Others are subtitled as 10 Steps to This or 12 Steps to That. I have moved at least twice since I have cracked open any of these books, yet I continue to pack and unpack them, partly because my respect for books is such that I could never throw any away without feeling guilty. Maybe more than that, though. I suspect I have kept them unconsciously as a reminder of my journey. I do not mean to get lost down memory lane, nor do I mean to belittle education, self-help books, or service. They all have their place. I am grateful for my education and the experiences that brought me here. My only purpose in recounting some of this is to demonstrate the extent of my effort in trying to get the faith to work. In those days, milestones, books, and roles served like dangling carrots toward that goal. My victory, healing, deliverance, or blessings were always just one do this, apply this, achieve this away. That is until the day I crashed into the reality that I was 10 years down the road and feeling far more exhausted than victorious. I had not changed into the extrovert that I hoped I would have. Remarks by friends and strangers still triggered reminders of childhood ridicule and rejection, plunging me into weeks of toxic thought and negative emotional patterns far more frequently than I care to admit. I had not defeated sin to the extent that I thought I should have either. But now, added to the mix of my existing insecurities, failures, and flaws, was a newfound fear of what it meant that I was not fixed enough. Is there something wrong with me? I wondered nervously. Is my faith real? Have I let God down? Up until this point, try harder was the default answer to those questions. Have you experienced the same? Can you too recount everything you have tried, yet concede to feeling more exhausted than energized? More depressed than joyful? More stressed than peaceful? More condemned than free? Do you grapple with the feeling that you somehow are not fulfilling your end of God's deal? Do you fear that He is gravely disappointed in holding back His promises, even His love, until you prove yourself worthy of them? I know the feeling. I know the misery, as do many others. If you could spend a day with me to read the messages that fill my inboxes, you would see that the experience that I described is not yours or mine alone. Christians of every age write to me in fear of what it means that they still struggle with sin, symptoms, and shame despite the